Hey guys, welcome to Lab 2160. We are going to be having two videos today on non-invasive ventilation. I primarily will be working with the Philips Respironics V60 for a couple of reasons. In this area of the country, this is the primary BiPAP that is commonly used for non-invasive ventilation, and it's the one you'll most commonly see. It's the current, most up-to-date BiPAP that we'll be using, and it shows the different changes really well. So this first video is going to be all about the nuts and bolts of the BiPAP, how to work it, how to set it up, and then the second video will be about the principles and how to run it and make setting changes in certain settings. So we're going to start on the back of the BiPAP. This is the Philips Respironics V60. So on the back, every single machine is pneumatically and electronically run. So we have electric and oxygen that we hook up. Inside these machines is an internal blender, so the FiO2 changes from 21 to 100% will happen within the BiPAP. After you set that up, we'll come to the front here. We're going to follow our tubing, and then I'll show you the buttons. On our circuit here, we have our inspiratory lines, our inhalation limbs. We will have it here, along with a filter, so that we don't let any patient goobers in or previous patient goobers out. So filter, then this little short piece of tubing goes from the filter down to the heater. And then on the heater, right now we are using a Fisher & Paykel, which is the most common heater used on BiPAPs and is very important. Then next we have our circuit, which goes out to our patient. And there's a couple features I want to talk about on the BiPAP circuit. You will have, at the very end of your circuit, a little adapter. It looks like this. It's a little plastic piece with a hole right here and then a little port right here. The purpose of this, you'll hear it called a whisper valve. So with the whisper valve, this allows for exhalation and is a safety measure built into BiPAPs and certain non-invasive ventilators, so that if something were to happen, malfunction, and even just normal exhalation, so that the patient doesn't suffocate from high CO2 levels. That goes at the end. This little piece right here will be called your pressure gauge line, or your pressure line is what the BiPAP will call it. It goes here up at the proximal end of the circuit and comes down along your circuit into your BiPAP right here along the inspiratory side. This is how it measures the return volumes. Okay. Also on your circuit, you will have heater wires. This tells so one will be up near the patient to be able to check the heat near the patient, make sure we're not burning our patient. And then the other ones connect down to the heater in order to monitor. You will want to put your Fisher Paykel heater on a non-invasive setting, which will equal 31 degrees Celsius. And let's bring it down here. So you will press on to turn it on. The button above says invasive or non-invasive. It will automatically go to invasive. You just hold the button down to go to non-invasive. Oh, sorry guys. And then over here is the silence button. As you can see here, we have inspiratory limb that comes across the heater in order to heat and humidify since we're basically putting a patient in a open car window and adding tons of air and pressure, and that dries a lot of patients out. Okay, back we come. That's the basic nuts and bolts. Along with that, you'll have water. Always use a new bag of sterile inhalation water. So you can see most of the ones will say inhalation. And you just spike it down to your Fisher-Paykel heater. Beyond that, we have our on and shut down button. This right here tells you your battery status. There is an internal battery you can use so you could travel with your patient if you need to. And this will tell you green is good, yellow not so good, red you need to plug in. Most of the time when you're at the bedside, it will be plugged into a red outlet and will continue to charge. It's just when you need to travel with a patient. This alerts you to different alarms and is just an additional alarm indicator. And then up here is a touch dial you can use to change or select, and I'll show you how to work that. And then you can press the green button. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of how to set it up. You may have to separately set up the BiPAP and the heater, so you might end up using 2 plugs depending on the facility you end up working at. You might not have both connected to the BiPAP. Along with that, at the end of your circuit is where you will attach your mask. Sorry, I didn't have this set out. You'll take the mask that's at your facility, stick it on, and remember this whisper valve we talked about, always aim it out away from the patient because it'll get kind of noisy and it will cause what will feel like a leak. Use this and point it straight out from your patient. Some facilities will have a mask that doesn't have it has the whisper valve included in the mask, and you'll attach this directly to the mask. Some of you will see that at different facilities. But for this setup here, I wanted to show you guys the whisper valve, and then you hook it in there. And after that, you can attach it to your patient. And that is how to set up the nuts and bolts of setting up in the different pieces of a BiPAP.